Hello everyone, and welcome back to Roughing the Competition. My name's Brant and this is Trevor, and we're here today to discuss the AP Top 25 college football rankings and 6 games that we are going to kind of dig into a little bit.
Yeah, looking at this matchup, we're looking here at week 5. I mean, it's been an interesting college football season already. We saw Old Dominion whoop up on Virginia Tech last week in the surprise stunner of the week. So we thought it'd be interesting to give our feelings on the top 25 and where it stands at the moment real quick. And then we're going to quickly look at these 6 matchups which can be key to the rankings this week. So Brant, you see any changes in the top 25 that you're not happy with? Because I know personally looking at it here, the AP I'm pretty good with. Maybe Texas Tech should be a hair higher, but other than that, I'm fine with everything.
I'm pretty much okay with everything too. I know I don't, me personally, I don't like having, Power 5 conference teams that have one loss ahead of other Power 5 conference teams.
Yeah, I know. You're sitting there looking at your West Virginia. I understand.
I don't personally like that, but I can understand why it's there.
Yeah. Which, with that said, let's go ahead and take a look into some of these matchups. Which, to kick things off, we're going to look at one of the earlier games and one of those that may be a little upset territory. Let's take a look here at Clemson and Syracuse. Now, both these teams are rolling in here 4-0. Syracuse has been the surprise darling of the ACC, beating Florida State to open up the season. Florida State team that struggled, but can they hang in there with Clemson? Now, Brant, what's your feelings on this
one? It's hard to tell. This is kind of a battle for, I guess, that first place in the ACC Pacific.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Cuse can win. I don't think they'll have enough. The quarterback's playing well with 763 passing yards on the season with 9 TDs and only 1 interception, so he can take care of the ball.
Yeah.
So that might not be the issue. Well, my issue is if Clemson, or Syracuse can actually stop Clemson's offense.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good question. Whenever I was looking at this game, I mean, Syracuse is that team that you want to go, oh, here's the upset. Here's where Clemson, they trip up. They're starting Lawrence at quarterback. It's his first big start. There's a trip up, but here's the thing. It's not in the Carrier Dome. That's going to hurt Syracuse. If they were at home where they're known to pull the upsets, maybe. The other thing they got going for them is I think Eric Dungey has a chance to show what he's made of here. He's a very balanced quarterback. 700 pass yards on the season. 350 rush yards. He controls the tempo of the game by just moving the ball. With that said, I don't think Syracuse pulls this out, but I think they're going to keep it closer than people think. So we'll see how that turns out for Clemson. I got Syracuse close.
I got Clemson winning as well, and I do think Syracuse can stay in the game just because of the quarterback actually understanding how to take care of the ball.
Absolutely. Let's move on to the second matchup here, which we're going to do Ohio State, Penn State. Now, this could be a big one for the Big Ten. I mean, right here you're looking at what arguably could be the biggest game on the schedule for the Big Ten this year. We got Ohio State playing Penn State. And, I mean, this is just a matchup of 2 great teams that are undefeated.
Dwayne Haskins he's playing lights out right now.
Oh, yeah.
With 16 touchdowns and 1 pick on the season. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And with Trace McSorley, he's staying steady. He's at 8 touchdowns with 2 picks.
Yeah.
With it being Penn State's first test, real big test of the season, I don't think they can handle OSU. So, I mean, no Bosa, no problem.
Yeah.
I think OSU wins this game.
I'm kind of in similar feeling here. I think Penn State's a great team. I think we've seen their defense step up huge these past couple of weeks after a rough start. But once again, Haskins has proved that he had every right to be the starting quarterback. I know Joey Burrow might disagree with us on that, which is fair to say. I think he's been great in his own right. But Haskins has just brought a passing attack to OSU that they haven't had. I mean, you match that up with this balance of the run game. The run game's still pulling almost 250 yards a game to his 350 yards passing. That's crazy for an Ohio State team. Match that up with a good, talented defense. Penn State's going to try. They're probably going to hang around like TCU did. End of the day, it's Urban Meyer's game to lose, and he's not going to lose it.
So, Stanford and Notre Dame, what do you got?
Okay, Stanford, Notre Dame, this will be, I think, the game of the week to watch. I truly do. I think it's going to be a competitive game. You're going to see offense, but you're going to see some defense. Book started for Notre Dame last week, looked really good, and I feel like they found a rhythm with Wake. Their scores have been close, but he pulled them away against Wake, unlike what Wimbush was doing. I think that continues this week, and I don't think Stanford has another trick in the bag. I think they pulled out their last comeback last week against Oregon. It's not there this week. I think this is the game Stanford trips up, and then we see them dominate the Pac-12. So with that said, I got Notre Dame in a close one.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you here.
Okay.
I do believe Stanford's going to win this game. It is going to be his first big start for Notre Dame. So I think with the veteran leadership or senior leadership of KJ Costello at quarterback, with Bryce Love at running back, I do think they can control the clock and actually control the game to grind out the W. I don't think I think it's going to be close. I do think it's going to be pretty low scoring, like a 21-17 type of game.
Yeah.
But I do believe Stanford can pull one out.
Absolutely. Yeah, I definitely can see Stanford pulling out. I think it's just going to be a close one. It's going to be that fun one to watch. Which, speaking of fun ones to watch, West Virginia, Texas Tech, we are talking explosive offenses here. Now, Brand, I know you're a West Virginia homer. You have big hopes from them this season. What do you see in this matchup?
I see a lot of scoring in this matchup.
Yeah, I think we can all agree on that.
But I do think West Virginia's defense might surprise you. They are only giving up about 304 yards a game, which in the Big 12, that's considerably low, considering Big 12 isn't known for their defense. And with only giving up 12.3 points per game, that's pretty good, especially for West Virginia not always having that big defense. With Will Grier throwing 14 touchdowns through 3 games, he's thrown 3 picks, but a couple of those have been, he couldn't do anything about it. And Bowman with 10, but Bowman has about 1,500 passing yards already.
Oh, yeah, he's absolutely on fire.
Will Grier being around 1,100. There's going to be a lot of scoring. There's going to be, I want to say West Virginia gets into the 40s.
Yeah.
If not, maybe 50s, but I doubt it's. So I do think it's going to be right around, I think it's going to be a 2-score game, 42-27.
I can see that, yeah. I'm kind of in the same boat with you, only I got to score a little bit higher. I think it's going to be a hair closer. I definitely think West Virginia hits the 40s. I think we see Texas Tech make game up, gets up around 35, 36 points. It's going to be a shootout. Let's face it, Greer's putting up the yards. We're seeing the kid Texas Tech put up the yards. It's typical Big 12 shootout. And it's just a matter of who outshoots the other one. I got West Virginia, like I said, so I think we're both in agreement there. And with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at Washington, BYU. Now, this one has a chance to be a little interesting. BYU doesn't look that great on paper. They're not favored at all. I believe, according to ESPN, there's under a 10% chance for them to win, despite being ranked number 20 and having the upset of Wisconsin. Now, I know in my case, I think Washington hangs on here. I think BYU kind of gives them a little run for the money with that balanced attack, but I think Washington, this is Browning's game to pull away.
I don't think Washington has anything. I don't think they've played very well all season. I really don't. And BYU does have that really good win against Wisconsin. And Wisconsin is a good team. They just beat Iowa last week. I do think BYU comes in and actually upsets Washington.
Okay.
This is going to be, it's going to be close.
Yeah.
And it's going to come down maybe an overtime game.
Yeah.
I'm hoping. I like it.
No, I do too. It's a blast.
But I do think BYU can pull the upset by controlling the clock.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I can definitely see that. I think BYU has the best chance to control tempo here. Canada, their running back, is running for about 150 a game with the rest of the rushing attack. So I think if they can control the tempo there, they can hang around longer. I just think Browning has this slow start again, and I think he's going to show something here, just to kind of set his critics aside. Which, with that said, let's take a look at this last matchup. Now, this one here is like the Clemson-Syracuse matchup. There's a big chance for upset here. We got LSU and Ole Miss. Now, Ole Miss has a fiery offense. LSU has that stout defense and that commanding control offense with a quarterback led by Joey Burrow, the transfer from Ohio State. Now, he's been quite good this year pulling it out for LSU, but his stats aren't showing it. Now, against Ole Miss, we could see Ole Miss try and light up that defense from LSU, something they really haven't been tested with yet. So, with that said, Brent, what's your thoughts on this Ole Miss-LSU game?
Ole Miss averages a lot of yards a game.
Yeah.
It's 522 yards a game. That is absolutely ridiculous, especially being an SEC, and with SEC having notoriously pretty good defenses.
Yeah.
So, on the flip side of that, their offense gives up 505 yards a game. And I do think this is a game where Joey Burrow can actually show what he can do.
Yeah, I think this is going to be another big test for Burrow. We've already seen it. He's up in Miami. He played Auburn about 2 weeks ago, I believe it was, and he pulled out wins in both of them. And a lot of that was grinding it out and coming up with those key third and fourth down conversions late in games. Or in the case of Miami, it was early in games. Those 2 4-and-1s were huge and just turning that tempo around to keeping Miami off the field. I think he does it here again. I do think Ole Miss kind of scares them a little bit early on. It's another come from behind win for LSU, but I think it's going to be good for them for later in the season whenever they run into a Bama and a Georgia that's going to really test them. Now, with that said, I mean, that's kind of a look at these matchups. We could see any of these matchups going the opposite way. Syracuse could pull the upset on Clemson. Ole Miss definitely could beat LSU, and that would really shake up these playoff rankings, which we'll find out in time. But with that said, we want to give you a preview of another segment we're going to be introducing here soon, which is a look at conference outlooks, which will take these teams and do a deeper dive into where they're going to finish in conferences. Now, with this segment, all we're doing is giving you a quick wrap-up on the week, and we're just kind of telling you our thoughts on top 25 and our thoughts on a couple key matchups for the week. With conference outlook, we'll dive a little more into kind of where's that conference going, who's going to win it, who's going to kind of fall to the bottom that you don't expect, and will the winner out of that sneak into the college football playoff?
Because not every single team, not every Power 5 team gets a.
Exactly.
It's going to be exciting.
Someone's got to get left out in the cold. And we're going to do a deep dive in that. We'll do each of the Power 5 conferences, and then we'll do a video looking at the independents and the American Conference and some of the mid-majors that could sneak up there. Those will be coming out within the next week or so.
All right.
Thank you.